Welcome to Business Communications for summer of 2024. Let's go over a couple of quick tips for you before we get started. Then we're going to jump into the Blackboard course shell and take a look at what's there. First, keep in mind, this is a very compressed summer session. We have to take 16 weeks of content and compress it into 6. That doesn't mean all the same assignments, but it does mean all of the same learning content. So be prepared to spend 2 to 3 weeks, 2 to 3 hours per week per class on your coursework. That's watching videos, looking at the textbook, and actually working on assignments. In this course, you'll be doing some writing, some speaking. We'll be updating resumes and LinkedIn profiles. There's a lot to cover, so be prepared to put in the time. Second, I know this is a summer session and I know how tempting it is when friends and family are going on vacations and doing fun things like people tend to do in the summer. Don't get tempted to put things off until next week. Just because this is an asynchronous course, which means it's kind of self-paced, it doesn't mean that you could just put everything off until the last week. This course is designed to help you build skills. It's a revision type of course. So there's no way for you to just do all of your assignments in the last week. You won't be able to do the necessary revisions and updates in order to get the scores that you really want in order to be successful in this semester. So just keep reminding yourself of why you decided to take this summer session in the first place and keep yourself on track. You don't want to get behind. And finally, we are going to be using AI. AI is important for your professional success, and you're going to need to know how to use it in your career and in the work that you're going to do in the workplace. But you have to know how to use it correctly, and we're going to be covering that kind of thing too. So let's jump into our Blackboard course shell and take a look at what this course actually looks like. Take a quick look at our Blackboard course shell and some of the expectations for this course for the summer. I'm not going to read everything to you, so it's up to you to read some of the important things in the syllabus area and the Start Here area. So let's just look at some highlights here. Main page, you have your to-do page and what's new. So if I add a new assignment or update a due date, you'll see some notifications here, but you still should keep an eye on my calendar because all of the due dates will be showing up in my calendar and it will help you stay on track. Okay. Announcements here. So any emails that I send out to the entire class will also be reflected in the announcements area as well. So if you feel like you've missed something or if you accidentally delete something, you can always find the general announcements for everything here on the main page in our Blackboard course shell. In the Start Here area, click there. In the Start Here area, you're going to have a brief introduction to me, some information on how to get help, how to submit assignments and participate in discussion boards and things like that. There's a whole YouTube channel dedicated to helping people with very specific Blackboard tasks, and they're really short targeted videos. So if you're not sure how to do something, you have this as a resource, but you can also reach out and ask me, send me an email, ask, how do I make this work kind of thing. I'm here, email always. Next, some information about online courses and how they work, especially these asynchronous, self-paced ones that you're kind of working on your own, the resources and things that you're going to need in order to complete assignments. So please read over this information carefully. One of the biggest recommendations I can make to you is read all of the instructions carefully before completing an assignment and then looking over those instructions one more time before actually submitting an assignment. There are a lot of very detailed instructions and you'll see them here in a second. Sometimes I add videos. Sometimes those videos are ones that I've created. Sometimes they're ones that I found on YouTube that are really good. If I provide you a video, it's there for a reason. Please watch it. Even if you speed it up, that's fine, but watch the video. The expectation is when I'm grading your work is that you've looked at the chapter you're supposed to look at and you've watched the video you're supposed to look at, and that will be reflected in your grading and your feedback. So that is my biggest recommendation for success in this course. There's more information here about how to access library resources. We will be doing a little bit of research in this class. It's not a research paper like you would do in an English class, but if you're doing a business report or proposal, that requires a little bit of research on your part. So we will be doing a little bit of that. Then there's just some more general information on apps to download, what business professional versus business casual actually looks like. And yes, it's still important even for an online class because you will be recording some presentations and you will need to dress properly. And then some FAQs frequently asked questions that you might want to take a look at to see if anything is relevant to you. I'm going to scroll up and go over to syllabus to see how your course is graded. So here in the syllabus area, you've got a preview of the basic information on how this course is graded. Keep in mind there are no incomplete grades in the summer, so please do not push things off until the last minute. We'll have career prep, which means resumes, cover letters, interviews. And again, those are revision assignments, 30% of your grade. General writing, like how to approach a positive and informative message versus how to approach a negative message. Yes, AI can help on these things, but there are some specific strategies, and you're going to be responsible for making sure that whatever you use the AI to generate follows and fulfills the assignment instructions and expectations. That's up to you. 20% of your grade will be speaking, so you'll be doing some recorded interviews, some recorded presentations for different reasons, elevator pitch, that kind of thing. 20% on researching, so those writing assignments like a proposal or a persuasive message that might need some research, you'll need to do some research there, 20% of your grade. Some more breakdown information below that. Getting started with MindTap. If you want to watch this video, if you've never used MindTap before, it might be a good idea to take a look at it. Your full syllabus for download, which I recommend that you download and keep all of your syllabi for all of your classes all the time. Even if you never look at them, it's good to have them there. Now let's go over to course content, where you're going to be spending most of your time and where all of your homework assignments, textbook links, videos will be located. Past today, you probably won't be visiting Start Here syllabus very often, but you'll be in course content every single week, multiple times a week if you're doing the course correctly. Here at the top, I know the form isn't loading because you need to be logged into your campus email for this form to load. Just some basic alternate contact information, so please take the time to fill out this form. Make sure that you are logged into your email before you try accessing it, and then you'll find it. There is an orientation page learning module here. I recommend that you go through things in it like how to manage your email, how to download Microsoft Office to your computer, important. Some general information on accessing Cengage if you've never done it before. All that is contained in your orientation learning module. So take a minute to browse through those pages to make sure that you're up to speed on everything. I'm going to scroll down. Notice that we have weekly folders, and on the outside of each weekly folder, it gives you an idea of the content that is inside those folders. Now, if you want to pause this video for a second and go take a look at your mobile app and compare what you see on your mobile device versus what you see here on my desktop, you will see that it is very different. On a mobile device, you won't see any of this descriptive information. You just see the folder and you just see the folder title. That's it. Remember that for all of your classes, your instructors are designing them and building them on a computer, and so they're expecting you to be interacting with them on a computer. So if you're having a hard time finding something, jump onto a computer and see if it looks different on a desktop or laptop versus what you're seeing on your mobile device. So I'm going to pause for just a second and give you a chance to pause and come back. So pausing. Okay, now let's take a look at our week 1 folder. This is the only one that has been updated with current due dates and assignments. The other ones haven't been completely updated yet because I wasn't sure how many folks would actually register for the class and actually show up. So let's take a look at week 1. And click on the link to open up. You generally will have some kind of note at the top of every week folder. It gives you an idea of what is in the folder. Some assignments are in multiple stages, like you'll want to post something to a discussion board by a particular date and then come back to it on another date in order to respond to your classmates' posts. So make sure that you read those instructions carefully. Use whatever organization tool that you need in order to keep yourself on track with these different expectations. Sometimes it's Post-it notes, sometimes it's a physical calendar. Maybe you want to use your Outlook calendar with reminders. That's completely up to you, whatever works. But make sure that you take the time every single week to take a look at all of the different due dates for that week, okay? Also, I mentioned before, this is a revision type of course. So if I take a look at your resume and I have a revision recommendations for that resume, I will give you a day that is a new due date for those revisions to be completed by. So don't just see that you have a score on something and not look at the feedback. It is expected for you to look at the feedback and know what it is you need to change, update, revise, and when that needs to be done by, so that you can turn it back in and your grade can be adjusted. Okay, so reading these notes at the top and keeping up with schedule is really important. Below that, introductions and general writing, our very first actual learning module here. I'm going to open that up. And you can see this is going to go through a couple of pages, page 1 through 4 and the forward arrow. Please watch this video. You'll see this creator a few times throughout the course. I really like her content and she explains a lot of things really well. So take the time to watch it. Remember, you can speed it up if you want to make it go a little faster. Next. All right. There's a link to our textbook section here. So this will take you directly to a section in the textbook, and it's expected that you're going to look through this carefully before you start completing the assignments for this particular learning module, okay? So don't just scroll past this and think that you can write something or post to the discussion board. You really need to know the content that is being specifically pointed out to you. So make sure you do that. If you click this link and have any problems, make sure that you go back to that orientation learning module I mentioned before to make sure that your Cengage account is set up correctly. Okay, moving on. All right, so this is a one of those two-stage assignments that I mentioned earlier. You're going to be going to the discussion forum and posting your part 1 post here. Okay, so make sure that you've looked at that textbook so that you know actually how to make your first post and what kinds of information needs to be there. And that needs to be done by Sunday. And then on Monday, the 1st, I'll be assigning you a classmate or 2 to respond to. So come back Monday and see who it was that you've been assigned to. Read their post and respond to their post. Keep in mind, if you do not make an initial post, you will not have the opportunity to respond to somebody else. This is not something that can be done late. Since I'm making these assignments for response on Monday, if you don't have a post in there by the deadline, you're not going to get an assignment for someone to respond to, and therefore you won't earn any points for this particular assignment. Okay, so read these instructions carefully. Notice there's clear information on how long it's supposed to be and what the expectations are. So this is your first two-stage assignment. And then your first larger assignment is actually on the next page. Here we go. You have an introduction letter. Now, remember a minute ago where I said I have very extensive instructions on all assignments? This is what I'm talking about here. In the assignment, you can see the due date for the assignment, how many points you can earn, and if there's a rubric that I use to grade it, it's attached as well. But look at the detail here on the expectations for this particular assignment. The basic structure of the document that you're typing up, 1.5 to 2 pages, 350 words minimum, double spaced, and 12-point font. That's the basic structural expectations. And then below that is what is expected in the content of this particular introduction letter. Okay, you'll have several sections here. First, covering your background, and this should be a section heading. Where are you from? What brought you to SAU? Next section, who are you? Help me get to know who you are. What's your major? Why did you choose that major? What are your plans as far as the future? Why did you choose criminal justice or sport management? What are your goals related to that? Special skills or talents. Maybe you've always been really good at public speaking, or maybe you've always been terrified of public speaking. Help me get to know you. Here are some guidelines on things that should be covered in the who are you section. After that, where are you going? What are your plans for your time here at SAU? Sports, Student Government Association, internships, how do you plan to be involved on campus? that kind of thing. Plans for after graduation. Are you going to graduate school? Do you plan to get a job? That kind of thing. And then finally, what are your goals for this course? Do you really, really want to work on your writing skills? Do you want to work on your public speaking skills? Do you really need help with your resume or your LinkedIn profile? What are your goals for the course? Remember that textbook chapter that I mentioned earlier. Please have some of that content reflected in this area as well, okay? This note here, remember when you're telling me about where you're from and why you came to SAU and all that, don't spend too much time talking about other people. Like, your family is important, but don't spend a whole paragraph talking about how your parents met at SAU and, you know, love at first sight, and they went on to be really successful and had a family and you wanted to come to SAU too. I want to know about you. So mentioning family is fine, but don't spend your whole paper talking about family and friends. This is about you, and I want to get to know you. So keep that in mind as you're writing. Final instructions here on how to actually submit your assignment. So make sure you save this document in a Word or RTF format. I cannot open anything created on Pages, and please do not submit links to Google Docs or to Microsoft Word docs. I don't accept links. You have to actually download a file and submit a file for me to grade. You're going to click this link here for uploading files, attach the file to this assignment, and last step, all the way here at the bottom, click the submit button and wait for you to get the confirmation page that it has submitted. I have a lot of students that attach files and don't actually submit, or they click submit and close the window before it actually finalizes the update. And when that happens, the Blackboard system considers that in progress. I can't see the file that you've attached. I can't give it a grade. It's just showing this little blue circle that says it's in progress that I can't do anything with. So make sure that you upload the file correctly, that you press submit, and that you click submit and wait for that to load. Okay, I'm going to cancel out of this because I'm not actually a student. I wouldn't recommend saving drafts because there's no guarantee that you're able to find the draft. I've had some students have problems with that in the past. So that is the very first learning module. So going back to week 1, if I can, there we go. Going back to the week 1 folder. At the very bottom, you'll see a checklist. So just to make sure that you don't miss anything, I try and add these checklists to every week to make sure that you've done all of the things that you're supposed to do. Sometimes those multiple phase things are a little confusing, so I try and give you this little checklist. Also, keep in mind your own checklist. Remember what I said about revisions. It's up to you to keep track of when your revision due date is due. Some folks need more revisions than others, so everyone's going to have different revision due dates. Keep up with that on your own. All right, so I'm going to be looking forward to getting those introduction letters and seeing those posts to the discussion board. Keep an eye out for emails from me, videos that might help you in completing your assignments. And again, if you have any questions or confused about something, just want to jump on and have some virtual office hours, use the booking link that is in the Start Here area to book an appointment, and we can jump on Teams and have a chat. Okay, so good luck. I look forward to reading your work.